All right, we're live. We're live. So I guess everybody out there, except for myself and maybe a few others, call this day Father's Day. I call it Hallmark Day, and that's all good. But if we're going to call this Father's Day, okay, then I guess if it's my day and I'm a dad, to a lot of kids, I guess if you stop to think about it, not just my own biological son, but I guess I'm a dad to a lot of others out there, a surrogate dad, a surrogate uncle, all those things. So if this is my day, I get to call what I want to do. So what I want to do is talk to a very, very astonishing lady that I met last week at that other conference out there in Camden, Tennessee. It was a self-reliance festival, actually. And I met her, I was getting hit in 10,000 different directions. And everybody kept saying, "You need to talk to her." And then she came up to me and said, "You need to talk to me." And then we kept like ships in the night, kept passing each other, and finally got a time when she was actually talking to someone else to kind of be something of an interloper in their conversation. Kind of weaseled my way in there for a brief conversation. And you saw her in one of the previous videos. Well, we're going to talk to her for real today. So if it's Father's Day and I'm a dad, well, this is what I want for Father's Day. I want to talk to somebody that is going to be edifying, and enlightening. And with that said, y'all, we have Niti, the pharmacist, Niti Bali, and it is such a joy to have you here, Niti. How you doing?
Well, first of all, what a gift! What a beautiful introduction, and thank you so much. Those were beautiful, very kind words. I'm very touched, and I'm actually honored to be able to have this time with you, Billy, because there's very few real men out there, and so thank you so much for being courageous and being brave, and saying all the things that need to be said and calling men out when they need to be called out. And I think that a lot of folks right now are misunderstanding the call out because they haven't been around real men. Real men used to always, keep each other in check. These days, I think that, up is down and down is up. And a lot of women believe that it is their work. It's from the training. Okay. It's from the false training. So what I do, by the way, as the high priestess of the pasture, I was named by Joel Salatin, so I'm gonna take it. Okay, I'm gonna take it. But he calls me the high priestess of the pasture in my food church over here. And one of the main focuses for the food church is, it is my work to help remnants rise. And I feel like ladies out there, a lot of these young people out there have no idea that women were always queens. And women can't be queens if there aren't any kings. You can't be a queen without a king. There has to be a king. And so the king is first, and then there's the queen. That doesn't mean that there's any power taken away from the queen. Our power points are very different. And I think that those differences are what allow the couple, the king and the queen, to be so powerful. And so rather than women taking it as a dig that the men are supposed to lead, they should be trying to help steer the men. And most kings they're not kings if they don't have a queen.
Well, I always refer to my wife as my homestead honey. And, she doesn't call me the permaculture pimp daddy. I don't use that anymore for a whole variety of reasons. Hey, by the way, if you're on the way in, folks, hit that thumbs up button. It tells whatever the algorithms are that Niti's over here dropping it. And she's going to be here before too long. So please do that. Hey, I see my man, John, SOE, y'all, the proprietor of all things. Well, John is actually, real quick before we get into it, Niti, I want to tell John and everybody else this. I'm just going to announce it right here, right now, that John is an astonishing man, as you well know. We're exactly the same age. I heard him the other night in his live stream. And folks, if you haven't checked out SOE, actually, that's the shirt I got on right now. Give me liberty, or I'll get it myself. Um, he said the other day, and Niti, I'm going to have you help me hold myself to this.
Right.
John said the other day that he's out there busting his butt, working out. The man already works insane hours anyway. And what he said was every time there is a new, um, a new festival or anything that's going to be going out on at SOE, which coming up soon, y'all, is going to be that swale class. That when people come out there, he wants them to look around and notice that you know what, this place is improved. It doesn't look the same. And he also said the same. This is the astonishing part. He also said, and Nathan, you're going to know where you chime in on this. He also said concerning his body that when people see him again, he wants them to not only see improvement on his farm compound, he wants them to see improvement in himself. And you know what? He kind of de facto issued a challenge. He doesn't know that he did, but you know what? I am doing the same thing. So my man's getting up at dark 30. He's out there pumping iron. He's doing everything he needs to do. Everybody has excuses out there for, why they couldn't work out, why they couldn't do this, why they couldn't pray, why they couldn't do whatever. But I've never once in my life heard anybody say they had an excuse for not brushing their teeth. So that's exactly how I'm going to take this challenge, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take people along for the ride. Now, Niti, once again, folks, if you're new, hit that thumbs up. We're going to drive into Niti right here because she's all about what you put in your body. And she's all about freedom. She is all about the wonderful things that I try to champion on this channel. And more of the people you see me talk to are all about that. So, Niti, before we get too far into it, I said all that to say this. I want you to give people a brief background on what you do. Folks, you're going to be glad you stuck this out. I want you to give them a background about you and how you came to doing this work. And then we're going to get into it and drop it.
Sure. Well, my story is a little bit long, and I'm going to try to condense it here. I can tell you guys that anybody who really wants, if you want to know all the, details and context, then I wrote a book. I wrote this book so I wouldn't have to keep repeating our story, but I will tell you that, I had an awakening. I had an awakening in 2007. When our daughter, she was 2 years old, and she was diagnosed with esthesioneuroblastoma. And basically, the long and the short of that experience was, that she saved our lives, Billy. My daughter saved our lives. And she empowered me. And I believe that she kind of activated me or reminded me who I was. She reminded me that I am creator. She reminded me that I'm a remnant. She reminded me about the work that I came here to do, which is that I'm here to empower all of you in this moment in time, this perfect moment in which we're here to, shed our slave self and walk into a more masterful life. I want us to, it is my work to teach you and remind you how to allow the purification that is happening for you naturally, innately by your God force all the time. I'm here to remind you that you should be walking into your masterful life by mastering the art of pure positive love. I'm here to remind you of all these things. And I believe that was what that experience with my daughter has actually led me to arrive at. She taught me many, many things, but like one of the big deals that I'm here to say is that she made my husband and I realize that, oh my goodness, we're slaves. We're slaves. And we're slaves to something that, and we're voluntarily giving up our power. We're voluntarily doing this. And it was a very, very hard, it was a very hard thing to admit. It took us, Billy, 10 years to be shook out of this deep sleep, that we were in. When we lost Mina, it wasn't before she gave us the truth. It wasn't before we didn't cure her of her cancer. The damage that was done to her body as a side effect of her cancer was, irreparable. So, and it was irreparable upon presentation, meaning that I don't have to feel bad or guilty about anything that we did once we found out that I hurt her or I damaged her further. We only improved her. Okay. You can see the details. People are saying they can't see the name of this book. It's called Farm to Fork Meat Riot. I created a meat riot. And the funny thing, Billy, is vegans thought I was doing it for them. No, no, this is not for the vegans. This is for meat eaters. This is for people to be reminded that meat heals. Regenerative meat heals. It has to be
Yeah.
regenerative. But I digress. I mean, you're calling me to action, Billy. I'm telling everybody out there that it is my work to remind you of who you are and put you back into your power. I'm here to put you back in your full power. And I'm here also to lift people like Billy, and lift people like, John Willis, the men, the real men who can teach the young people how to walk back into their full power as well. We need the men to rise. It is time.
Well, I sure appreciate that, and all the wonderful things you had to say about William when we were back at that festival, and how you were wanting him to have a little bit of interaction with your own son,
Yes.
for a whole variety of reasons. Because, like you said, sometimes adversity makes men, prosperity makes monsters. A guy once said, and we're I came up with a term where I call it milk toast masculinity, and I got a feeling that's going to probably be on a shirt someday. But what you're advocating, first of all, it's empowering to all the guys out there, and it should be a kick in the pants for all the guys who have acquiesced. And I've been tough on them. Homesteading Pastor has been tough on these people. Now,
Yes.
folks, for the ones in the comment box, look, we're all coming from this from different places. I come from a Christian worldview. I make no apologies or whatever about that. Niti comes from perhaps a different worldview. But where we unify is in so many, and that's what we need to focus on. She may be hitting this from a different angle. I'm hitting it from a different angle, but we're all heading in the same direction when it comes to this food church. Can I get an amen, Niti?
Amen. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want anyone to think like I'm trying to talk you in or out of your beliefs or your faith, or I'm not putting this food church up for us to start a new religion. I am using the food church as a tool to be able to speak freely for the powers that are constantly, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I started it because I thought I needed some framework or some permission or something that I was just going to give myself. I'm a self-proclaimed governing body, basically. That's what they told me.
Mhm.
They told me that I was a self-proclaimed governing body. And at that moment, I allowed them to kind of spank me with that. And now I'm just like, oh yeah, actually, that's right. Actually, yes. And thank you. And yes, that is exactly what I am. And so,
Well, you're doing a
sorry.
wonderful job of getting people out of that zone. No, you hit it right there, because at the end of the day, and you said it earlier when we just started this discussion. By the way, folks, if you're new, hit that thumbs up. Believe me, it helps us out. You said something about us, being slaves, whether you're a corporate sharecropper or whether you're a slave in some other, whether it's a mental slavery, whatever it is. We live in a country where we think we're free, and we live in bars with prisons with bars that we can't see. Um, it's just one giant. It's what one Native American philosopher once said. America is really just one giant Indian reservation. You got a people that think they're free, and here we are with bars we can't see, and you're helping people bust out of that. So tell me about this food church. How you got going into that and the work you do, because there's a lot of people out there right now, and a lot more that are going to watch this that really need to hear the information that you provide.
So I originally started the food church because, I had all of the does coming after me. So I had the NCDA, the USDA, the FDA, and I had the CDC. I mean, everybody was coming after me. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about the institutions. The institutions were coming after me. And then, of course, that's where all the religious people come after me. The religious institutions, are coming after me by way of the people who are saying that what I'm speaking is, somehow disrespecting everyone's belief in God. Or, you hear people out there and they're like going, well, I don't need power from you because I receive my power from Jesus. And I am not trying to take anything like that away from anyone. I am not interested in, look, the orthodoxy, like our mass media, for example, and even the current institutions that are in place, they're trying to erase religion. They're trying to take all that away. In fact, I believe, Billy, you getting vilified for speaking about your religious beliefs. And I think that anyone who speaks about God is, in whatever capacity it is that they're speaking in, are always being vilified. So can we just stop that right now? I'm going to call all of you out and say, don't say any of that mess to me. Because what I'm trying to do is remind you how to boldly, powerfully walk in that truth that you speak so proudly of. I don't need you to tell me that. What I need you to do is walk in it actually. But what I know is that all the people that are speaking of Jesus and whatever, when they speak to me, and coming at me as if I'm trying to, like, you're losing the message. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not trying to, I just
Yeah,
want
I want to segue on from that, and then there's a little side note. What Gandhi, when he was coming up, he said, "Man, I love everything Jesus had to say, but it's the Christians I can't stand." And in some ways, it's the self-righteous people that are in this space that, if I'll put it this way, a guy that I didn't really care for much, he said, "You show me a zealot and I'll show you a hypocrite." And I see a whole lot of that going on. But Niti, the beautiful part, and what I want folks to understand is you and I may come at this from two different ways,
right.
but our enemy is kind of the same. Not kind of, it is the same.
Same. It is the
Yeah.
same.
So
They're
tell me about
creating
this.
division. So the enemy is the one who is trying to create this division. You know what people don't know out there, Billy, is that the number one commodity in the world is a slave. The number one commodity in the world is a slave. And currently we are operating under corporate rule. Do you guys understand what that means? It's, your God is not ruling when you are a consumer. You allow yourself to be called a consumer. I don't.
So how do we get out of that box? And amen to that, Vicky. Yeshua had more respect for whores than hypocrites. That's true. And at the end of the day, I'm hoping, just like we want more men to be men, where these guys that quit acquiescing out there. Also, let me just say this: look, we're looking for more homestead honeys, not homestead huzzies. So let me just go ahead and put that out there. Okay, I guess that's going to be on the T-shirt too. So
yes. Oh my
yes.
goodness.
So let's move.
So what I'm talking about is that, first of all, can I please just, I have created these 5 focuses for the food church. So I'm just going to tell you what those are. Okay. So the first one is to shed the slave self. And I'll get into that a little bit more. The second one is to walk towards a more powerful life. The third one is food freedom and health independence helps break you out of bondage. Okay. Fourth is admitting you are and were in bondage, or you are or were in bondage, and that you will allow yourself to break out of this voluntary slavery, because you are voluntarily choosing bondage that you're not realizing that if you still go to a grocery store and give them money, then Jesus is not the one who is giving you your freedom right now. Stop going to the grocery store. Also, in my book, it says #get out of the grocery store. As long as you allow them to feed you, you're a slave to them in a way that you don't even understand. So just let me just hear me out. Just hear the whole thing out, okay? So courage is the 5th one. Courage and energy to rise against the oppressor, which requires conviction. Conviction of what? What is the conviction that I speak of? How about conviction to be an oddball because you're not going to the grocery store? How about the conviction to be an outcast? Look at Billy living out there wherever he is. People could say it's in seclusion. Is it really seclusion? I mean, he's just owning his spot, right? Um, Conviction to love and honor yourself. Conviction to love and honor yourself. Billy, like you and I and John Wells, like people are coming after us all the time saying that we're all kinds of whatever. They're coming at us with all this hate, but we have enough conviction to know that we are going to love and honor ourselves first, and then we have love to pour and honor to give other people. We have
Well,
nothing to give otherwise.
they can come after us all they want. You're going to have a hard time finding me in the secret place of the Most High, as long as I choose to go there as often as I can. Now, I want you to talk. I want you to talk to me because, like you said, this whole thing about slavery is a big deal. So, like you said, if you're going to the grocery store, and to some extent, all of us do for whatever, until you can produce toilet paper and aluminum foil, you're going you're going there for something, and everybody, I'm sure to some extent or another, at least the people that are watching this, are looking and seeking, especially in these times, to try to wean themselves off of that. Can you tell us how you go about doing that?
Sure. Yeah. Well, relationships. I would say the number one thing that you can do is go out and develop relationships. And I think, what's interesting, Billy, is that a lot of people think that there should be these relationships where there's this exchange and it's somehow free, because you're friends. And that's just really not the case. Like, that isn't how it's going to work, folks. We are establishing relationships, like me and Billy and John and Nicole and a lot of other outspoken leaders out there, Jack Spirko or whatever. But we're giving each other business. We're giving each other support in the ways that we can, so that we can all, walk and speak and talk and teach and provide, for those who need it. And what's happening right now is a collapse of the centralized system. And as this centralized system collapses, there are those of us who are in place, and we haven't been sitting here for 5 minutes. Okay, guys, I've been out here doing this for 12 years. Billy's been doing his thing for how long? You been doing that, Billy?
Long time.
Right.
Long
I mean, over a decade. All of us have been doing this for more than a decade, from what I know. I don't know anybody who just started doing this 5 minutes ago, as evidenced by the experience that we have, as evidenced by the love and energy and power that we have time to pour over you. Anyone who is doing this, if we can't, the way I feel about it, Billy, is every single problem that I speak about, I have more than 3 solutions for you to right behind it. Whether you do that or not, that's different. I'm giving you the solution. Can you hear me? Can you hear the solution?
It sounds like it. I can hear it, but you got people like David here, seems like a great guy, asking, tell me more about this food. Well, I'm paraphrasing part of this. I'm going to add to his question. He's saying, how many farmers supply the food church? Tell me how that works. Tell me how these people can, we really need to evangelize what you're doing there, and how they can take that and position to wherever they might be. Can you give us a framework for that?
Sure. I think that, first of all, people need to know that there aren't enough farmers out there. The food is nowhere. Okay. And I'm not saying that as a fear monger. I'm saying it because the food is nowhere. You have everybody who decides they want to come up and try to learn how to homestead, but they don't know how to chop an onion, Billy. They don't know how to actually cook food. So, why don't we just start by crawling? Can you learn how to chop an onion? Because you don't know what to do with an onion once you grow one. That's the problem. Okay. You don't know how to gain health with this. What I see is a whole bunch of homesteaders who come out and they buy the land, they do the thing. And hey, this is not me discouraging you from buying land. Buy it. Okay. Get out there and get your land. But what you need to know is that you don't know what to do on it yet, because you were just 5 minutes ago in the grocery store, and you're still in the grocery store. And I know that you're not going there for toilet paper or onions or meat. A lot of you are going in there for Doritos. Okay. So let's just be real. All right. What you don't know is how to actually create a proper meal. We don't know these things because there's a whole lot of division. Look, our home has been under attack. The home has been under attack. There is division between men and women, and it started, 100 years ago. But it's not too late for us to do something about it. Let's just start by admitting it. Can we just admit it? Let me tell y'all what I just realized how to articulate recently. I've kind of known this thing, you know how Billy, you know something, but you're just not sure how to articulate it, how to express it, how to get people to hear you. Well, I just recently was finally able to put words on something, and I realized what it was. It was that admitting that you were choosing bondage is really humiliating.
Amen to that.
Admitting that you were giving away your power for free is humiliating. Admitting that you let someone take power over you so hard that you let them talk you out of knowing that you know more about how to take care of your own children than they do. Admitting that you allowed them to invade your family so hard and come right past you and take your children and medically murder them. That was what I had to admit. And a lot of people don't like me saying that. A lot of people say, well, that wasn't your fault. That's lies. That's bullshit. I know that's lies. And excuse my language, okay? I'm just, for myself, I had to admit and know that I allowed someone to walk in and talk me out of my own power, talk me out of knowing that I knew my children better than they did. I let them talk me out of knowing that I knew what my daughter needed more than they did. I allowed them to talk me into hiring a pediatrician because that's what was going to be required for me to be a good parent. Lies. These are lies on lies.
That's I think you said it all. I mean, I hit that resonates deeply with me because like you said, we're all slaves to some extent or another until we wake up. It's like Harriet Tubman said when you and I were talking back at the other thing. She said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Okay. So we all live in various compartments in the bottom of Plato's cave. We may come out regarding, let's say, what happened in this event, what happened in this event, and maybe it's our food. You still have to get up out of the cave to emerge, and see things for what they are. The days of darkness have a way of making us all see the light, so to speak. And look, you've dealt with a hard thing there, and we tend to think, and I used to as well, that just because a person has MD behind their name, it doesn't mean medical deity. And you're showing people that they don't have to stay, chained at the bottom of Plato's cave. So you got us. We recognize we're slaves at this point. I'm hearing you. I am hearing you, Niti. I can give you at your food church. Amen to that. So we recognize we're slaves, and we see this matrix that we've prepared for ourselves all the way around. Now what do? I know that I'm a slave, or maybe somebody out there who's watching this and hit that thumbs up, y'all. They recognize they're a slave. Now what's the next step? They're like, okay, it's just like a person admitting that they have an addiction or whatever. Now what's the next step?
So now what I want you to do is allow your purification that is already happening for you naturally. This is not me doing something, okay? Your God force, your, Jesus, your light, your infinite creator, whoever it is that you want to call it, whatever you guys call that powerful light is flowing to you and through you constantly, begging you to get back on the path. Get back on the path. So you now recognize that you are a slave. Okay, how do you break out? Well, just start by getting up. Can you get up? Get up. Also, go learn how to do something. Anything. Learn how to chop that onion. Learn how to make the food that you want and like to eat in your house. Learn how to go find the components wherever you can find them and bring them home and make it into a meal. Stop eating your money by putting it out there, letting other people produce it for you into food so that you don't even know what's in it. You don't even know what you're eating. You don't even know how much food you need to bring home so that you can be satisfied. You don't know. I have all these folks coming to me, Billy, talking about, well, I do, I cook meat, 2 or 3 days a week because I can't afford it. Why can't you afford it? What are you talking about? There should be nothing that you can't afford if you really want it bad enough. If a heroin addict can go out and afford to buy heroin for themselves, then what are you doing? These are lies that we tell ourselves. These are the lies of the programming. And so, what I'm going to do, and if you're following me, I'm just going to keep shining a light on these little words, the little words, the ones that we are just saying because we've been programmed to believe that, well, I don't really have much choice. Or, well, I'm on welfare. Really? Guess what? When I first started on this journey, when I realized, when I was shook and I woke up, because I was like, oh my God, I let them talk me into giving them power, and like, I allowed them to come and take my daughter out of my personal charge and medically murder her, right? Well, when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh. At that moment, we were on food stamps because my husband was working, but we couldn't qualify for so much more. I was home with the kids and we were in the hospital. I couldn't go to work. It was just, it's crazy. I can't even explain to you, but at that red hot minute, we were on food stamps. And I told my husband, I was like, and I wrote about this in my book. I said, I took everything in my house and threw it away, y'all. You're sitting here telling me what you can and cannot do and arguing for your limitations. I won't listen to it. I have no patience for that. I will not listen to it, because if you are arguing for your limitations and also at the same time trying to tell me that Jesus is your savior or whatever, let me tell you what, Jesus will come over there and be like, get up. Get up. Also, you think that you're not a slave or that you're only a slave to Jesus? First of all, he didn't want you to be a slave to him. That is not the word. That is
Well,
not the word.
I agree. I got life and I got it more abundantly. And for those out here who don't recognize that maybe Niti hits it from another worldview, just remember this. No thinker, the mark of a real thinker is the ability to hear any argument without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with it. So for some of you people that have tripped a little bit in the chat earlier, look, I don't care about that. Neither comes from it from a different, the idea here is that we are unified in the areas that most matter. She may be from a totally different worldview from me or from you or for anybody else. But at the end of the day, we're still speaking the same language. And frankly, like I said before at that last one, I gave, when I was on the stage with John Willis and Jack Spearco and Nicole and the others, like I said before, let me just put this out there. We'll get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
I call myself a Christian American heterosexual pro-gun libertarian, but the most ethical person I personally know is an atheist. So I don't care where you're coming from at the end of this, y'all. Like I said, the mark of a real thinker is being able to hear these arguments without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with it. And hey, shout out to my friend and mentors down at Deep South Homestead. I guess they're going to love a lot of what you do and say also, Niti, and they're probably going to be wondering where you have been. Probably a number of people are. They're going to be wondering where you've been their whole lives. Okay, so sorry about the monologue. I'll get us back on track. So with that said, you recognize you're a slave. You realize you got to put foot to butt, stand up, get active, get out there and do something, which is that's almost sacrilege here in the United States of amnesia. So you get up and do that. Now, where do they go? Because you have a quote food church,
right?
Where do they go find one? Where?
Right.
How do they? What's the next step in all this?
So I hear a lot of people all the time saying, I can't homestead, I can't have a garden, I can't. I'm not asking you to do that. I know that Billy and a lot of people are teaching these things, and there are going to be those people that do that. And then there's also going to be a lot of people, because listen, I am not for, okay, so Billy just put a whole bunch of labels on himself, and I've never done that for myself, and I won't do it. And the reason I don't do it is because I'm a human being. It's the only label I'm willing to stand with. I am a human being, and I am for all the humans. And what I see right now is that human beings are under attack, and there's this dehumanization in place which is, and part of that dehumanization, Billy, is they want us all to have these labels so that you can be in this box and this box and this box. I'm not going to be in this box. I am not in any of those itty bitty little boxes. Okay. I am in the human being box. I am in the human being box.
Good point. Good argument. I don't, you made me, you're making me reconsider. That's how I know that I am an emerging thinker, because like you said, I'm listening to you and I'm like, okay, I try to put that, I try to compartmentalize myself in, because it's a compact way of telling somebody where I'm coming from. But you're right. To a certain extent, that's also disempowering, because honestly, I can, no matter what I am, I can see where you're coming from or where somebody else may be coming from that may have a whole different political or religious philosophy. And at the end of the day, if we can't do that, then why are we even talking at the end of the day? So,
right. So I know I'm not answering your question all the way, but listen, I'm trying to clarify a couple things.
I get it.
I want to clean the path up, friends. I'm trying to clean this path up because there's so much crap on it. The reason you can't get to where you need to go is because of all of it. And so let's clean up. Can we just do some housekeeping, please? So what I would like to say again, I am coming from, I want us to be speaking and working with each other as human beings. Human beings, and that is all. You know, Billy, you know what you need to do for hogs. You need to know what you need to try to do for chickens. You try to address everybody and talk about beeves, and anybody who's doing any permaculture or any kind of farming or whatever, you know, you guys know that each of these species are in a box together. Well, why are we in 2,500 different boxes? We're animals too. We're human beings. I don't care if you black or white or green or Jew or blue or whatever it is. You know, I don't know where you're from or what you're coming from or what you like. Can we just all be human beings? I need you to listen to me and hear me right now that, you know, I am only trying to speak to the human beings. Can I just speak to the human beings? I'm not interested in speaking to the aliens and the lizards and the whatever else might be out there. Can I just speak to the human calling all human beings? Calling all human beings. Can we just get on that level somehow and just speak on that level? Can you rise to human? Can you rise to the human being level and have a conversation with me? That's what I'm looking for, the human beings. You know, I need a t-shirt. I think, Billy, I need a t-shirt saying, look, I got this shirt. It says, I don't care.
What's on the back of it?
So on the back of my shirt, it says, well, it's going to be hard for me to show you on this camera, but it just says, there is great love here for you. There is great love here for you.
Now let's get into that.
I can't care about all the things that you think. I can't care about all the things that you've been thinking that have look, all your belief is a thought you've been thinking. Beliefs are just thoughts you keep thinking. And guess what? You can change your mind right now.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another. Let's go ahead and move on regarding any of that. We're not going to, any detractors, which by the way, by and large, seem to have exited the room, so to speak, and I won't give any more attention to them. We'll do it. And thanks a lot, Grumpy Acres, Julia, David, Kathy Dick. Grant. Yeah, we'll have to get you in one of these interviews also, Grant. Hey, like I said, if you're new getting in here, hit that thumbs up. Let's talk about this food church. We're not going to worry about trolls right now. I'm going to put my attention on them. And by the way, trolls, I'm going to take my time on you in a future video, but I'll come back to that. Niti,
yeah.
let's get down.
I'm not worried about the trolls because the truth cannot be hidden, and the truth is coming. You know, the truths are coming. So I'm just here to help remind everybody of that. But I need all the humans who want to. The humans that are seeking truth will hear me, and the ones that are not won't, and that's fine. It's okay. Cool. Because I don't care. The rest of the people I can't care about. You know what I've said, Billy, is I can't care. I used to try to care about all these people so much, you know, and what I had to learn, what I had to know for myself is that everybody doesn't want freedom. Everybody doesn't want truth. Everybody doesn't want health. Some people just want to keep arguing for their limitations. And if that is what you're doing, then okay, that's fine. I will honor and respect you where you're at. And just, that's all I'm going to say about that. The rest of you guys, if you're ready to make a move, then let's do it. Let's do it. It doesn't require very much. You don't have to move out of your apartment right now. Okay. Today, what you can do is just decide, I'm not going to buy meat from somebody if I don't know who it is. And if you can't find somebody around you then guess what? I have a button. I have a button that you can push on your computer, and it'll take you to Polyface Yum, because I am partnered with, Polyface. Daniel Soliton is my backup farm. You probably know Joel, his daddy, but Daniel Soliton is the person who's running the farm. He is who I am partnered with. He is who is helping me grow small farms, because a lot of small farms, they're not consistent enough to be able to make sure that you have food on the table all the time unless they have a backup farm, because they're still learning. And then there's a whole bunch. I mean, I'm talking about the small farms that the food church wants to work with, that are meeting the highest standards. And you know what? In my book, then I have a chapter, Billy, that is actually a livestock report card. Okay. And the reason I did the livestock report card is because most people who have been trained at university or commodity, if you haven't learned how to do permaculture from Billy over here, or you haven't learned it from his son, William, then you need to have them out and get a consultation and find out what's up. You need to learn how to raise animals for free. Okay. And they can help you do that. But that's like very advanced. You're still sitting in your apartment in town. You still have a job, and you want to start walking towards a more masterful life. Well, step one, change your mind. Change your mind. Embrace yourself, love yourself, and be appreciative. Like, if you're here, you're already walking towards more masterful life. Thank you for arriving. Thank you. You're already a remnant that's rising. We're just here to teach you. We're here fighting for you. I'm here fighting for anybody who is tuning in right now, because you have arrived. You have arrived and you're ready to learn. So you want to find somebody out there who's got animals on grass outside. They have to be on grass outside. They might not be feeding them the best yet. They might not be doing all these other things that Billy and his son and, Daniel and everybody else can maybe teach you how to do a little bit better. But you're already, if you already find somebody who's got animals outside, then you can just go support them. Go support them. Find out what they need, to be supported. If you're the producer out there, if you're some small farmer or homesteader out there and you have extra that you want to feed somebody, and you need to be able to earn with that so that you can continue to grow and, feed more people. If that's something that you're passionate about doing and you want to help feed more people, then, hey, let me know. Let me know where you're at. I want to be able to help send people your way. You want to reach out to me and be a part of this. I'm actually having my first food church conference, Billy, in October 15th this year in the fall. If people come out here, you'll be able to meet. I want eaters to come out here. I don't want consumers coming out here. Consumers are dehumanized, people who just spend money. They just push a button and buy money, spend money here and there on everywhere. What I want is a human being who is interested in eating real food and really supporting people who are doing real things, like real humans, regardless of which pockets they sit in. We don't care. I don't care what pocket you sit in. Are you hungry? Do you want to heal? Do you want to, because listen to me, if they are holding you hostage with your food in a grocery store, and all that food in a grocery store is dead, it's blank, it's empty, it has zero nourishment whatsoever, zero. When you take produce, which I don't believe you even need, okay, that is the lowest level of nourishment. But let's just pretend you go get plants and you gonna eat them. All the plants in a store have been washed in bleach. That means they are now poisoned. They have been poisoned. Yes, look it up. Look up health code for produce and see what the USDA requires for produce to be sold in a grocery store. And if you don't stop buying produce in a grocery store this minute, you're just poisoning yourself, like on purpose. You can
Right. So you got everybody's attention. I don't know what's going on. I'm hearing a little feedback. Okay, that's better. You definitely got everybody's attention out there. We know that food is poison. Danny at Deep South has been saying forever and a day, and he's even in the chat here. And a number of us, a number of other people as well have been saying, get out of those grocery stores, get your own food boots on the ground, So now that they're there, you got their attention at this point,
Hmm.
and they recognize, okay, this stuff in the grocery store is sprayed with bleach. The meat is denuded. There's no life in any of that canned food. There ain't nothing anywhere. So what solutions? I mean, how do they? I mean, where do they go?
Well,
I
you
mean,
just need to, you can find people locally. If you have trouble doing that, then let me know, because honestly, everybody who I've ever tried to help find people, I've had people who told me they couldn't afford regenerative meat because they were on food stamps, and I helped them find somebody that was 15 miles within their, like within 15 miles of their home. That this person is not probably sitting within 2 miles of your house. Just go ahead and know that. Okay. They're going to probably be sitting 15 to 20 miles, away from you. And guess what? It's totally worth it. Like if you were to go out there and get a freezer, like even the smallest freezers, Billy, that they sell like at Costco and at whatever the places are. I don't know the names of these stores, okay, guys, because I don't really go to stores, but let's just say you go there and you get the smallest 100 cubic foot little chest freezer. Oh, it's not 100 actually. What is it? Like 2 cubic foot?
no, it ain't 100.
Those little ones, the little ones. Because
Yeah,
mine are like, my chest freezer's like 22, 25,
yeah,
27 cubic foot.
that's about
So
right.
like those itty bitty little ones, what are they? You're the electrician, you know better.
Well, they're all over the place, and they're nearly impossible to find these days unless you get those little ones like you're talking about.
Yeah, I
And
think
I
it is.
don't
But
find
even that smallest one, y'all, can hold 100 pounds of ground beef. The smallest one can, your itty bitty little freezer on top of your like fridge, if you have one of them regular fridges in your house, the smallest little freezer right there, that holds 30 pounds of ground beef. So just so you know what that means. And for anyone out there, you need to try to make regenerative meat your focus. That should be the biggest thing on your plate. And then you can add a little side dishes on it, from people growing things around you or whatever, or out of your backyard or out of your kitchen. Because, I think that if you're really paying attention to what homesteaders are saying or permaculture, you can grow a lot of food in a little bit of space when it comes to plants. It is my encouragement for you to use animals because you can't have plants without animals.
Oh my goodness. That's where in that video, when you said that, William nearly fell over his chair. I mean, heavens to Murgatroyd. People just don't understand that. They don't understand you can't have one without the other. And for you vegans out there, your food eats food. That's how it works. If it ain't rotting, if you pick something and you set it on the counter and it doesn't eventually rot, that food was without life to begin with. So, Grumpy Acres on here, and I think he said it. Help me out here. Grumpy Acres Homestead, which, by the way, folks, you want to check them out. Awesome people. Met them also at the festival. He says, well, everybody is thinking your excitement is infectious, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you so badly. Um, he's saying it's basically a food church, a CSA with a purpose, with a real purpose. Is that what we're
Well,
talking about?
okay, so the food church is just a very small. I mean, what I'm doing here at Farm to Fork Meat, which is a piece of the food church, that's where people come and shop. Okay, I have members that come and shop. That small part of the food church is definitely a place where people come locally and get their food. Okay, it is my contention that there should be a food church distribution location, like a Farm to Fork Meat Riot, for every 50 families, every 50. And you know what, Billy? It takes about 4 small family farms with multi-species, on their land to support one of these food church demonstrations that I have over here that only really needs 50 families.
Now, where is over here? Because people don't know where you're actually in the same state as me, but you're on the other side of it.
Yeah,
And
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm sorry, I probably stepped on you. Say it again, please.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm in the
Okay.
capital, guys.
Yeah, you
I'm
broke
right
up a little bit more.
Oh, sorry. Is my internet glitching?
Yeah, it did a little bit. Of course, you're speaking truth to power, so that sort of thing happens all the time. Happens a lot with my friends down at Deep South. They know what I'm talking about. So yeah, every time we
Yeah.
get to talking about something really real, then all of a sudden, everything just freezes up. But it's all good. I'm sure people are seeing it in between the raindrops. So there is there okay, so what's your call? There clearly has to be a call to action, which I suspect there is. So
Yeah.
you're in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm over here on the other side of the state, and probably almost certainly somebody is in here watching on the other side of Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. Maybe they're in California, Oregon, whatever. How do they replicate what you do, and how is it? I understand now how it's different than a regular CSA.
Right.
Um, but let's break this down a little bit more. How can this be relevant to the people that are not in Raleigh, North Carolina? How do
Right.
they are you trying to evangelize this system that you've created? Is
Yes.
that what you're trying to do? And you want to build other churches elsewhere? So you got missionaries going out working on that sort of thing?
So I'm trying to. So I actually, when we were at the SOE workshop, then Billy was like, "Niti, I'm surprised you weren't on stage speaking." And I said, "Well, Billy, the reason I wasn't teaching over there is because I told John and Nicole, I was like, I need to iron these things out. What I've been working on is putting together my food church workshop so that we can replicate it, because what I'm interested in doing is planting more food churches. People want to know how to do it. And so at the last minute, I felt like I was ready. So I did these anarchy workshops at the SOE compound when we were there. And I told them at the last minute, I'm like, I think I'm just going to come and just see how this goes and just see what happens. And so I did. And, what I learned is that it's solid, it's ready. It's ready for me to teach it. It's ready for people to be able to try to replicate it. But it is a counter economic strategy. So, Billy, like you guys make that, what do you call it? What do you call your deer thing? The
Bone stuff.
something, yeah, the bone sauce. So like your bone sauce is very specific, for it to be as effective as it is. Well, my counter economic strategy is too. And, there's a lot of parts and pieces to it. And when people actually took the workshop with me, then they were just like, oh, this is not what we thought it was. And there was a lot of clarity. And I asked them, I said, well, I want your honest feedback on what you think, like, were you benefiting from this or what? Because there were several people there that were like, we're ready to go and we're ready to launch it right now. And I said, okay, so running a food church is very much like raising a family. It's much like farming. And so it's very nuanced, and I've already been through 12 years. I mean, listen, I will say that, you know, I'm very proud to say that Joel Salatin is like, okay, you've done your time. You can't, like he can see that I know how to monetize it, how to make it so that it's beneficial for both eaters and producers. But, farmers and eaters, what they think they want and how they think it's going to go and the way that it actually needs to go is two different things. And most eaters, unfortunately right now are still in the consumer category. And we need consumers to wake up and realize that you want to be an eater. You do not want to be a dehumanized consumer. And so there's a lot of education that's involved with that. And so for that reason, I have decided that I'm going to start making several videos on my YouTube, which I'm not really, guys, I'm not like a YouTuber. I've been over here doing boots on the ground. And so Billy knows what I'm talking about because Billy wasn't trying to start a YouTube either. And if it wasn't for William, I don't think he would be doing it either. But it's easier for me, and it's hard work, but it's easier for me to just do the work and, and focus on the work, trying to do the work and also, try to share that with everybody all the time. I have to say that was very overwhelming for me. And, but I've received a lot of encouragement and I feel that I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing these little videos and then you can, I would like for you guys to comment and reach out to me and, give me your honest feedback on how you think, so that I can address those things and send me your questions. Send me your questions. Send me what your obstacles are. What obstacles do you think you're facing? because, I've been doing this for a really long time and I can't remember what it was that I had to do in detail. And so I'm happy to give you my experience, knowledge, and help you and connect you. So one of the big things that the food church does, Billy, is connect people. We're building bridges because people need those bridges. And one of the bridges that I want people to make sure that they are in touch with if they're trying to be a producer is you. It's important. If you're out there and you're a producer and you don't know Billy Bond and you don't know what he does, you need to know. You better know. You need to know. And
Yeah, I'm definitely hitting it from another angle here, Niti. I want to know, so you're kicking this thing right off the ground. I mean, you're going out there, you got emissaries out there doing this good work, speaking the food gospel and out there laying it down. And by the way, I know, don't feel like that you're inhibited in this forum, Niti. I know you to be a very, very passionate person. In fact, when I spent a great deal of time with Joel Salatin yesterday, really didn't expect that, and he had the highest praise for you. And he, by the way, wrote the foreword to her book. By the way, y'all, don't feel like you're inhibited. You said a bad word earlier, and I think somebody in the comments may have said something about it. Well, you folks, let me just say this. You want to know what I find profane? I find profane children out there dying because somebody thinks an MD thinks he's a medical deity. I'll tell you what, I find that profane. I find that profane that people out there having to eat this nasty, poisonous garbage because they feel like they don't have any other options. That's profane.
mm-hmm.
People going to bed at night dealing with massive sickness, and I'd like you to get into that, Niti. Some of the sicknesses you've seen healed. Well, I find that profane, and don't feel at all inhibited. You
Mm-hmm.
speak however you want, and anybody that has a problem with anything that may come out of you may say, well, like I said, at the end of the day, get loose or get lost. I'm done playing games. If some people haven't noticed in the last couple of videos, people have said, oh, like one lady says, I don't like your toxic masculinity. Well, if you don't like it, we just
oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I have to say something.
yeah, well, I'll tell you what, let me just say this. Anybody that thinks this is toxic masculinity, guess what?
Woo.
I hope it's contagious. And I also hope that you take that toxic masculinity and shove it right up your soy egg roll or whatever it is you eat these days. So go ahead, Niti. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on my high horse.
For all the men out there that are listening to this or reading this or whatever, I hope y'all jump in this pool with Billy Bond. Okay, I really do. I hope that this does not deter you from standing up and being real men, because I am over the women. I am over it. Any woman out there who's diminishing any man standing up and being a man, no, thank you. I'm going to speak for any woman who actually is a queen is going to stand right beside me and agree with what I'm saying. Any woman who has ever really been made a queen, my husband is my king and I am his queen. And, some people might feel like I'm like, from people who don't know us, who are standing outside somewhere, they might just think that I'm running him over. Anybody who knows my husband actually, yeah, good luck. Good luck trying to run him over, because that is not the case at literally all. The only reason I'm empowered to speak is because of him. And so, whatever. Anybody, these people who don't know truth, we can't waste any more time on that. But listen, there's people out there right now, they're operating in chaos and in confusion. These people that say these words, they are out there explaining, they want us to do what they're doing. They're fragile. Okay. Billy, they're fragile and they're exhausting and they're exhausted because they operate in chaos, confusion. They're angry. I'm not angry. They're operating with anxiety and in grief. Do you know, I've lost a child. There's not too much else. They took my child. Okay. And what I know, I'm not the only one. The reason that I speak is because I know that I'm not the only one. And I refuse to watch other mothers have to experience what I went through. And I'm not going to let these confused, angry, fearful diminishing people who are oxygen deficient, who have lack of movement, the ones who operate as, with this victimhood mentality, in bondage, who want to try to control us, who are themselves addicted to drugs, who themselves are operating with the slave food that they prepare for themselves every day, or that they buy from somebody who makes for them, this slave food. The people who are cheap, that are imitation, the ones that are on chemistry project food like substances, who require plant-based supplements, those people who are dehydrated and they are dependent on others. You know what? You can't even find your way to contentment. And here we are in liberation. We don't need anyone. We don't need you. We operate with freedom. We're operating in integrity. We're honoring our temples. We're wanting you to honor yours. We're operating with medicine, not drugs. There's a difference. Medicine is something you need when you're injured or you're out of balance. Drugs is something you are dependent on. There is a difference.
Niti, I want you to cover, and this, I think that I can't believe I didn't think of it before now, but you have some really, really astonishing stories regarding health. I'll put it this way: healings that you've personally been involved in, and it was done through food. Can you tell us about any of those?
The last third of my book is testimony. Someone had the nerve to say to me, well, you didn't even write your whole book. Other people wrote it. Okay, well, whatever. Here's what I know, that the people that contributed towards the last third of my book were brave enough to share with you their personal, intimate stories of healing. I have people who are here in my food church that have been here for 12 years since I started. They are here and they will not go anywhere because they know that the food has healed them. There was a woman and she was suffering with MS, Billy, and she was in a wheelchair. She couldn't speak. She couldn't speak properly because her speech was impaired. Okay, she was dying. And then she came and I helped her get on real food. And all I've been doing for the past 12 years is working on everybody else. A lot of folks are like, what kind of lifestyle health coach are you? And, you look like you do or whatever. You don't look all that great or whatever. Well, I wasn't trying to be a nutrition coach or a health coach like these YouTube people that just make up stuff because they're just on YouTube. That's not what I'm doing. Okay. What I'm doing was I was out here and my daughter was sick and we were trying to, everybody's like, well, she died, so you messed up. Okay. No, actually, she was palliative at best before, and you don't know the whole story. So read the book before you open your mouth and speak to me. Okay. But what I know for sure is that we have helped thousands of families reverse cancer, reverse MS, reverse autism. I can stop children who are stroking out or who are seizing within 24 hours.
With nutrition.
With real nutrition. Somebody said, when all this pandemic started in 2020, now I guess we're going to get like banned now, but somebody go, your power's about to go out now. But, when all of this happened, then, at that moment, around that time, there was somebody whose child who was in the membership, was diagnosed with cancer. And another member said to me, how do you feel knowing that you have a member here whose child has cancer? I said, let me tell you what I feel like. I feel like I have people who come here and get food from me, but they also go to Sprouts and Costco, and they still go to the ice cream store. Well, because, you don't want to hear everything that I have to say. You don't want to do everything that I'm telling you to do. It is hard work to cook every single meal for some of these people who are so fragile, Billy. They're so fragile. What are we talking about all the time? We're like, get up. You don't want to cook. You might not want to do this. I don't know. At this point, I'm so happy. I don't want to eat out. There's nothing that somebody's serving me outside somewhere that is so great. One of the hardest things I have to do when I'm traveling is go eat some crap food. So I don't do it. I make sure before I get there that I have a kitchen. We were at this event. Remember, I invited you and William to come have some ribs with us because I brought my food. They were looking for food. Billy didn't know me very well at that time. He's just like, I don't know. William was like, I'm ready to come with you.
Yeah, that boy will eat anything.
He's like, I'm gonna come with you. I see she's got the food.
See, it's funny because I know you and Danny at Deep South would actually get along. He goes nowhere without even bringing his own water. And because
I do too.
I do that,
I do too.
I started doing that when I got to go anywhere. I now bring more than enough water that I need, and it's coming straight from my well. He's very fastidious about what he eats as well, just as you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the cool thing about
Willis. Ask John Willis what I do. I bring so much food because I don't know how much I'm going to need. I don't know if I might want to entertain. I mean, I don't want to be secluded. I don't want to be excluded. One of the tenets for humans is bond. It is imperative for us to thrive and to live robust lives, to have bonds with people. I am out there trying to make friends with people. I want to be with people. I don't be alone. So I bring food in preparation that I might be able to entertain somebody else and feed and eat with other people because I don't want to just eat by myself. So, I bring stuff, and then whatever's left over when I come to Tennessee, because I'm over there pretty regular. And when I go there, whatever's left over, because John and Amanda have given me permission to cook in their kitchen, and bless them, because that's what I do. I love going there. I know that whatever's going on, I can access a cast iron pan and some fire, and I can make something to eat no matter what. And that's all I need. So I definitely do that. I definitely bring my water. I'm radically self-reliant. I carry my stuff everywhere. I'm not waiting for somebody to give me permission to try to eat something good, or I'm not going to poison myself because I need to go travel and help to minister. I'm not going to poison myself as a side effect, and I'm not going to argue for my limitations. I've been known to go on an airplane and I check in my bags every time because what's in my bag? Frozen meat. I have a cooler in my bag that has frozen meat in it because nobody's going to make me eat slave food. Nobody.
I like the way you roll there with that slave food because well, good night. I mean, this is really in so many different ways, and I would love to get into this more with you concerning all the different modalities in which we are indoctrinated slaves by and large, the most of us. And
Right.
yeah, we'll probably have to do that in a subsequent podcast or whatever the case may be. We're coming near the end of it, Niti, but I want you to kind of let's leave people with a call to action here. And also, before we get into that, tell everybody where they can find you because we're talking about a food church, but as of right now, the parishioners have no idea where the breadcrumbs are to get in the front door. What's their next move to reach out to you in the food church?
Well, right now, what I'm asking everyone to do is pay attention. Like, follow me on my YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram. And the reason that I'm saying that is because I will be letting you know when there's events going on here. If you're local, join the food church. You don't need to move out of your apartment to do that, to get started right this red hot minute. And that is not me saying don't go get your own land. That is not me saying don't try to go do something for yourself. I have a lot of homesteaders who are members here because they don't know how to grow everything that they want to eat. And so they come here. Also, a lot of them come here just because of the community, of the bond, just for knowing other like-minded people. Also, because even if they're growing whatever they want, they need a backup. Because if you're radically self-reliant, you want to have layers. You want layers of backup on backup on backup. I mean, I'm sure, Billy, look, you tactical, you're trained. You can't, and you have livestock on the ground. So that you got to have backup on backup on backup. You got to have these layers. And so everybody wants me to tell them what a food church is in one breath. Well, it is a congregation, a community of people near and far. And it looks different for everybody depending on how they're connecting with me. I also have an online platform that's private that I have built, and it's at nitithepharmacist.com. You should go check it out. If you go to my Instagram link, it tells you how to join, my mission and be part of that, because I am, what's crazy, Billy, is you saw we started talking and all of a sudden everybody, the the orthodoxy is trying to muzzle me, and they're trying to hide me, and they've been hiding me for 12 years. All I was doing at the beginning was making cooking videos on how to cook meat. Because one of the slave tricks is that you've been trained to believe that you don't know how to cook meat, or you have to cook it to a certain temperature, or you have to basically overcook meat so that it becomes almost indigestible, because they want you to believe that meat is difficult to digest and that we weren't designed to eat meat. These are lies. These are lies. What did I just say? What? These are lies. If you do what I say, you will learn that plants are harder to digest and meat is easier to digest.
Well, I know this much. I'm going to shift myself, as I said in the beginning of this interview, inspired by SOE, John Willis. I'm actually going to, by the next time you see me at that next gathering, Niti, I'm going to be as hard as 3 times 9. I'm going to be hard as woodpecker lips. And the thing is, yeah, I'm 50 years old, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, there's no reason that I need to go ahead and kind of ease. I mean, even though I do a lot of physical work every day, at the end of the day, I can be totally honest. This is why your message is so much and was resonating with me from the very beginning, is that, you know what? I was doing pretty good about a year ago. And then all of a sudden, I kind of drift into, I was very careful about what I eat, eggs, meat, you know, plenty of fat, largely primal kind of diet, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden I found myself slowly but surely, instead of dealing with the cares of this world in other creative, good ways at first, I found myself, like probably a number of others, eating more and more. And then I find myself eating things I got no business eating, that I know I shouldn't be touching in any form. And then you eat a little bit more of that. And then it snowballs. And then before you go, you're me looking at myself on a video with Jack Spearco, and I look like Jabba the Hutt sitting on that couch. So, I may not look that bad to everybody else, but usually, there was a time where I used to walk through a door chest first. And that's why talking to you, listening to John and hearing his call, I don't know if it was really a call to action, but that's the way I took it. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go out there, and me and John are going to be the hardest 50-year-olds anybody's ever seen at this next gathering.
Bring
So,
it. I look. I'm older. I think I'm older than y'all, and I'm working on that for myself too. What people don't know about my story, but you will learn because I'm writing a book about it right now, is that I've had several autoimmune conditions I've had to overcome, on top of the grief of the loss of our daughter, and on top of all of these other things. And so there was a lot of attention I was not able to pay to just take care of myself. That is the reason why I have been streamlining things, and I've had a lot of help from a lot of lovely people who, like yourself, who are helping me try to get the word out. I mean, it is my passion to try to help as many people as I possibly can, but I know I say that I don't care because I can't care. I can't care about you more than you do. That's what my message is. I can't care about you more than you care about yourself. I can't love you more than you love yourself. So you got to love yourself. And so I'm just asking you to do that. And a lot of people out there say, I love myself. I do, and I know all these things, but do you, when you walk past the mirror, you give yourself a high five? Can you? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a high five? I was looking at myself on your video and I was like, ooh, that's a bad angle. Oops, yikes.
you're lovely.
I
You're
was
lovely. You're
like,
wonderful.
oh no, oh no.
Maybe you're one of those rare commodities that is honestly, um, you're engaging. It's just intoxicating to be around, not just you, but I think a lot of other women and men really. And look, I'm not going broke back on anybody, but honestly, it is intoxicating to be in a room with other people that can speak this language, who have evangelized, different denominations of, let's say, your food church. We can say that it is a joy and always a pleasure. It's why I always say, great conversation is the first thing I look for, and by and large, it's the hardest thing to find. But you are definitely a joy and exception to what that normally is. Nita, we're going to have to bounce here in a minute, but I want to make sure everybody once again knows where to find you and maybe what you got coming up here, how they can engage with you, the best way to get a hold of you, and what you have coming up because it's exciting.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, first of all, for all your very kind words. I appreciate you so much. And, that's why I love to go to the festivals and everything. If I could just do that every day, it is wonderful to be recharged by folks like yourself and everyone who was out there. It was really, really refreshing and lovely to be there. Um, I actually this year am not going to a whole lot of events because I'm building. This is my year of building a lot of different things. So I'm building this online platform. I would really love to invite everyone to come there. It's nitithepharmacist.com if you want to go there like right now and just join it. I'm not as active there as I want to be because I'm trying to just fill up the room. And then I have the energy to move on to the next thing and the next thing, which it is my intention that that's where I'm going to be going live a lot, for our food church people that are far from me, who are not, right here local. I can't speak my truth when I'm on YouTube the way that I would like to. I think that you already know why. So if you want to have some real food church ministry, then you would come to nitithepharmacist.com and join that. Also, we are having our first food church conference. It is this fall in October. It is going to be something that I do as a set it and forget it repeat group of people. I actually have asked you, Billy, to come. I know that you have other commitments that you may not be able to come this time. So
I think I can actually. Yeah,
okay.
we got that Butcher Fest that's going to happen out at John's, and then we're going to have SOE. Yeah, we'll be doing that, but I think your event is before then. So I guess if you want me to go out there and butcher a cow or a pig or something else, if that's the plan,
Yes.
then I'll definitely try to make room for that because it sounds like a wonderful thing.
Well, what we want to do at the food church, conference, folks, is I'm calling all health coaches. I'm calling all eaters who just want to be more radically self-reliant with their own health. And so there's going to be a Thursday event where it's on the farm. I'd like to start the morning with you, Billy, with us, like harvesting either a hog or a cow. We'll have to figure out what that's going to be. And so, showing that to anybody who wants to come and learn how to do that. And then following that is going to be a 101 how to be a regenerative farmer workshop, like how to just start being a regenerative. I mean, very, very basic 101 with Derek Jackson on his farm on grass grazed. Then Friday, I'm going to have another food church workshop here in the food church. So people can come here, learn in the food church, see it in action. And that evening, we're going to have a VIP dinner with all the speakers. So those are going to be some of the limited events. Then on Saturday, it's going to be an all-day event from basically 8 to 4 on grass grazed farm. And that's where all the speakers will be talking. We'll have breakfast and lunch there. That is for people from all walks of life to, come there. But the food church conference itself is for, I really, really, really am trying to encourage a lot of these holistic physicians and health coaches, because where are you getting the medicine for your people if you're not connected or running your own food church? Because you should be running your own food church. If you're a coach and you're selling powders and potions, then you're not really winning every time. When I'm coaching families back to health, the reason that the reason I can stop seizures, or whatever in 24 hours is because I am using the God force of life-giving force that comes from regenerative meat. You can't do it with plants. You cannot do it with plants.
I like what you're sounding right there. And that's when you talk about meat, honestly, that's one of the biggest reasons that I got into this. It's not just because I know how meat was treated as a butcher, but also you can't buy meat this good. You cannot purchase Katahdin hair sheep in the store. I don't care. High-end butchery, you ain't going to find it. You
Nope.
can't find, I mean, I'm not eating my Dexter here, I'll be eating his offspring, but you can't find that kind of meat there. The pigs I raise, it cannot be found in a store. You
No.
can't find it. And at
Billy,
the
how
end of
long
the
is it gonna
day,
take you to get your beef ready, Billy? Uh-oh, you
you
froze.
cut out there. Say that again.
I said, how long is it gonna
No,
take
you
you to get
froze
your beef
too.
ready? Can you hear me
Well,
now?
this one here, I'm not really worried about beef right now, but typically with the grass genetics that we would like to use, it's going to take about 18 months, whereas a regular cow would
No.
be a year.
No, that's not my question. Actually, in my experience, if you process herbivores older, I mean, I'm talking about
Oh,
over
yeah.
8 years, okay? But I'm saying before that, like it sounds to me like you got your mamas and daddies. You're getting your breeding stock ready.
Yes.
Yeah. So to get an operation going from breeding stock to your first steak that you're going to eat, am I right or am I wrong when I say 10 years?
No, not the way I roll.
How you going to do it? How you going to do
Well,
it?
number one, with all the animals that we cull, because if the genetics ain't right, I love you dearly, but in the freezer you're gonna go. So
Oh,
there's gonna be some we got to cull, and some of that might even happen when they're relatively young. Some people would call that veal. I mean, it depends. A lot of this depends. So by and large, there's going to be some outliers that ain't going to make it to adulthood, just because, like I said, I need meat in the freezer. So that ain't going to work. Sorry for your bad luck, Cal, but you know,
it's not bad luck. Also, this is the other thing. For all the vegans out there, the lives that our regenerative beasts have are the most pampered that they would ever
yes,
have in their life. They otherwise would be dead. And also, can I just say something? I'm reading these comments. And this one got my attention. But Kathy Dick said that I should get in touch. I know Dr. Batar. I know him very well. And also, yes, he's also saving lives. But he's not putting everybody only on regenerative meat. I'm not saying he's not for meat. I'm just saying, you know, anyone who's out there looking for only doctors, this is the other part of the programming, that you need a doctor.
amen to that.
You don't need a doctor. What you need is real meat. You can't grow a garden fast enough, but you can find a beast that can heal you today.
I like the way you roll because I love to eat that meat. And at the end of the day, it's no, I don't like the killing because it's so fulfilling. I get it done. It's not something that I,
Oh,
I, I thoroughly enjoy. There's nothing I enjoy about that part of the process. But at the end of the day, for all the vegans out there that may have a problem with it, you know what? At least demonstrate, I think, the moral consistency to at least dispatch the animals I eat, because at least I know that that animal didn't suffer on the way to wherever you're going to take it. It wasn't corralled into something. Sometimes that's necessary. I get that. But at the end of the day, it means a lot to me to make sure that when that animal moves on to the next life, or if it should, whatever the case may be, before it moves on, I don't even want it to know it's happening. I don't want it to be stressed, no
mm-mm.
matter the animal. So that means an awful lot to me as a farmer, which, as you know, in any kind of big commercial operation, even some of the smaller operations, by and large, that is an afterthought. Nobody even cares about that for the most part. For me, it matters. If I can put that animal down, no matter the animal, and that's why I'm big on homestead butchery. So I bet you 10 to 1, what you're saying and what I'm saying probably go hand in hand together like peanut butter and jelly. So I'm all about that, doing that stuff on the homestead. But Niti, we are bouncing along one last time. So where do they go? Food Church. I'm sorry. Nietzsche. No, no, I'm not going to say anything. Where do they go to find you? What is the best way to find you? Because I'm getting tongue tied.
Okay, so I told you guys that I'm building these sites and all this stuff online. So I'm working on getting nitibali.com up and running. It's not really ready yet. So check out farmtoforkmeatriot.org, farmtoforkmeatriot.org is what works, not .com. Also, you could go to foodchurch.org. You can also just find me. If you go to my Instagram, then my bio has my Linktree link, and you can click on, any of those. But yeah, check it out. I am currently you're gonna find me most, prevalent. Like right now, what I'm doing is putting all my energy into YouTube conversations. And because I also have a lot of things going on here physically that I'm getting people in place. I'm training a lot of folks so that they can help me run this physical space, because I'm actually doing things physically here all the time that take me away from being able to share a lot and grow a lot and even leave town. It's very difficult for me to leave to go to a lot of these events because of what I'm doing here. And so because we're trying to get this set up so that it can be kind of running, so that the food truck doesn't have to close down every time Niti leaves town. Um, that's what I'm working on. I just want everyone to understand what's going on. But if you're in Raleigh, North Carolina, then you can also go to farm2forkmeat.com, and that is a very special link. You'll be able to find, if you go to farm2forkmeatright.org, then it says if you're local, click this button, go to that button. And over there, when you're in Raleigh, if you want to come and see me, if you want to join the food church, then you got to be interviewed. I don't just let people in. I don't. I want to know who you are. And I'm very exclusive. Again, not letting all the consumers in. Again, I'm not interested in serving everybody. And the reason is because, what were they saying at the Self-Reliance Festival, Billy? They were like, you guys, when there's food nowhere and you come to the compound and you have nothing to contribute and you have no appreciation, because if you have nothing to contribute, you also probably don't have any appreciation for what's going on.
Well said.
If you're playing these reindeer games with these people, which we're not, if you're playing these reindeer games, if you're walking in these lies, I'm not serving everyone. And I am very powerfully speaking truth. And a lot of people don't like it. If you want to come in here and you don't want to support and promote and be part of what we're doing here, which requires you to be a patriot, and maybe that's not a good word, because they're kind of, they're always messing up. They're dirtying up all these good words, and they're making them messy. But if you're not for freedom and for people, and I'm talking about human beings, don't come in here acting like, I'm going to recognize your divisive category, the hole that you put yourself in, of the Christian or the whatever you are. We are for human beings here. Just like the lions are not turning on the other lions. They don't turn on the other lions. Why are humans doing that? Oh, because you're programmed by a master. That's the mental slavery that, just admit it. Just admit. I had to admit that somebody programmed me to hire a pediatrician. Can you just admit that you're trying to be in a box? If not, you can't come in here. Pretty much, that's what I'm about over here. You have to at least admit that you know that you have fallen for it. You're trying to get out of it. You want to find your way out. So please, I'm here to serve the people that are seeking truth, the people that are seeking, walking as an eater and shedding their slave self and walking towards a more powerful life. Everybody that comes here, they don't have to know everything and be doing everything, perfect or whatever, but you just have to recognize that you were programmed and we're just trying to break out of it. That's a rule for me, Billy.
I like I like the way your congregation rolls. And I like the idea that you are exclusive, and we should be to a certain extent. You don't just let anybody in your house, so why would you let anybody in your church? I like the way you roll, Niti. Thanks so much for being on here with me. And folks, go check her out. And, I look forward to seeing you possibly at this conference coming up, or maybe some of the other events that will almost certainly happen here in the near future. But it's been a joy to get to know you, and I can't thank you enough. And thank you so much also for, when we had our conversations, honestly, y'all, she is a firebrand. And for some reason today, she, as great as she was to talk to right now, Wait do you get her off? Wait do you get her away from camera? And you're going to be like, whoa, man, she is putting out, just like she did today. She put out some powerful stuff, but um, she's really somebody you want to get to know, and she is an astonishingly wonderful person. So thank you thank you so much, Niti, for being on here with me. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yes, sir. I'm at your service, and thank you for having me.
I'm at yours too.